Welcome to the Deep Dive.
Great to be here.
Today, we're looking at something, well, you see it every day probably, the medicine cabinet.
Mm-hmm. Hanging right there in the bathroom.
Exactly. But behind this, everyday thing, there's quite a story, isn't there? Global economics, regional trends, it's all in there.
Absolutely. We've got this report here, the Global Medicine Cabinet's Market Report 2025. It's from Cognitive Market Research. And our goal really is to kind of pull out the key insights. Where does the market stand now? Where is it going?
And crucially, what's driving those changes.
Precisely.
And I gather the size of this market isn't trivial.
Not at all. By next year, 2025, we're looking at almost 10 billion US dollars. Let me see. USD 981.4 million.
Wow. Okay, nearly 10 billion.
Yeah, and the report also signals some, pretty significant growth ahead.
Right.
It's forecasting a compound annual growth rate, that's the CAGR, of 5.00%.
Okay, 5%.
That's from 2025 through to 2033. So what that means for you is it's not static. It's growing steadily. By 2033, the projection is USD 147.47 billion.
14.7 billion. That's quite a jump.
It is, and we'll get into which regions are, leading the pack and which specific types of cabinets are taking off.
Sounds good. So let's start with that big picture again, just to ground ourselves. Remind us of the overall size and the time frame we're talking about.
Okay, so globally, USD 981.4 million in 2025.
Got it.
Looking out 2033, it hits USD 14747.07 million.
Right.
And that steady 5% annual growth, the CAGR, covers that period, 2025 to 2033.
And the report's baseline.
The base year is 2024. It uses historical data from 21 to 24 and then forecasts out to 33. So it gives a pretty full picture.
Okay, a 5% yearly increase for nearly a decade. That really shows consistent demand for, well, something you might not think much about.
Exactly.
Now, I always find the geography fascinating. Where are most of these being sold right now?
Well, currently, North America takes the biggest slice. Over 37% of global revenue.
Over a third. Okay.
In dollar terms, for 2025, that's estimated at USD 693.12 million. But interestingly, their growth forecast, the CAGR from 2025 to 2033, it's a bit more moderate, 2.8%.
Lower than the global average then.
Yeah, compared to some other regions we'll talk about.
Which makes sense, I suppose. It's a mature market for home goods. What about within North America? The U.S. versus Canada, Mexico?
Good question. The U.S. is definitely the heavyweight. USD 2,913.87 million expected in 2025.
Right.
And their annual growth is projected at 2.6%. Seems linked to, that big push for home organization, storage solutions.
Yes, you see that everywhere.
Then there's Canada, estimated at USD 443.17 million next year. Their growth is a bit faster, 3.6%.
Oh.
And the report suggests that's partly because of the expanding elderly population needing more accessible storage at home for health items.
Ah, interesting demographic link. And Mexico.
Mexico's market, about USD 336.07 million in 2025, is looking at 3.3% growth. So yeah, slightly different speeds and drivers even within North America.
Okay, so North America leads currently. Who's number 2?
That would be Europe. They account for over 29% of global revenue.
Right behind North America, then.
Pretty much. Market size for 2025 is pegged at USD 894.61 million. Their overall CJR is projected at 3.3% through 2033.
So slightly faster growth than North America overall. Any standout countries in Europe?
Definitely. The UK, for instance. Market size of USD 486.29 million in 2025 and growing at 4.1%.
Faster still. Why?
Seems to be boosted by home renovations, remodeling projects, people upgrading their bathrooms.
Makes sense.
Germany is another big one, USD 573.13 million in 2025, growing at 3.5%. And a key factor there is apparently the trend towards smart cabinets, mirrored ones with tech.
The integrated tech. We'll probably come back to that.
For sure. Now, what's really interesting is while the big markets like France, Italy, Russia, Spain have solid sizes but kind of moderate growth, some smaller European markets are showing really high CAGRs. We're talking Switzerland, Luxembourg, and this rest of Europe category. Their growth rates are like 13%, 14% plus.
Well, that's significant. Why such high growth there? Premium products, maybe?
Could be. Maybe a faster uptake of newer styles, higher-end features, or maybe just catching up from a smaller base. The report doesn't specify exactly, but it's a striking difference.
Definitely something to keep an eye on. So, North America, Europe, the current giants. What about Asia Pacific? Often the high-growth story there.
You're absolutely right. APAC has about 24% of the global revenue currently. Market size for 2025, USD 2,395.54 million.
Okay.
And yes, this is where the growth really kicks into high gear. It's projected to be the fastest growing region overall. CAGR of 7.0% from 2025 to 2033.
7%. That's double North America's rate. What's driving that in APAC?
It's a mix of things. China is huge, obviously. USD 1,006.13 million market in 2025, growing at 6.5%. Part of that is rising health and hygiene awareness.
Okay.
India, though smaller now at USD 239.55 million, is forecast to grow even faster, 8.9% CAGR.
Wow.
And it's not just them. Japan's at 5.5%, South Korea 6.1%, Australia 6.3%, Singapore 7.3%, Taiwan 6.8%, Southeast Asia collectively at 7.8%.
But it's pretty broad-based growth across the region.
Exactly. It really highlights the dynamism over there, even for, basic household fixtures.
Yeah, APAC is definitely the one to watch for growth. Okay, let's swing over to South America. What's the picture there?
South America makes up a bit over 3.8% of the global revenue, market size in 2025. USD 379.29 million.
And the growth.
Projected CGR is 4.0% through 2033. Solid, but not APAC levels.
Right. Any key countries?
Brazil's the largest. USD 162.34 million in 2025, growing at 4.6%. That seems linked to residential construction activity.
Okay.
Argentina, smaller at USD 63.72 million, but growing slightly faster at 4.9%. That's apparently driven by more focus on home safety and hygiene.
Interesting drivers.
Yeah, and then Colombia, Peru, Chile are showing CAGRs in the 3.8% to 4.3% range. Steady growth.
Okay. And the last two regions, Middle East and Africa.
The Middle East is around 4% of global revenue, USD 399.26 million market size in 2025 with a CAGR of 4.3%. Saudi Arabia and the UAE are key markets there, growing at 4.6% and 4.8% respectively. Turkey's also strong at 4.9%. Africa is the smallest market currently, about 2.2% share, USD 219.59 million in 2025. But it's projected to grow pretty well, a CGR of 4.7%.
That's faster than Europe or North America.
It is. South Africa leads the growth at 5.6%. Nigeria is at 4.9%, linked to the rising middle class and consumer spending there.
Right.
So yeah, you really see how broader economic development plays into demand for things like better home fixtures.
It's fascinating how these regional differences paint such a varied picture for, for a cabinet. Okay, let's shift gears. The report breaks things down by product type too, right?
Yes, it does. Primarily, you've got recessed versus surface-mounted cabinets.
Okay, recessed meaning built into the wall.
Exactly, and surface-mounted just hangs on the wall.
Which one dominates?
Recessed models are expected to hold the largest share. People like that clean, integrated look, plus it saves space, visually at least.
Makes sense.
And what's really interesting is the report flags recessed as the fastest-growing segment by product type.
Faster, even though they're harder to install than surface-mounted?
That's a good point. Surface-mounted are growing rapidly, too, precisely because they're easier to install, especially in remodels where you don't want to open up walls.
Right.
But the faster growth in recess suggests that, particularly in new builds or major renovations, that modern, streamlined, built-in aesthetic is really winning out. People are willing to go the extra mile for that look.
Yeah, I can see that. Aesthetics often trump convenience in home design. What about categories? Like single door versus multi-door?
Okay, so single door cabinets are expected to remain dominant overall.
Why is that? Simplicity. Cost.
Pretty much simpler, usually cheaper, and they fit well in smaller bathrooms, which are common globally. But the multi-door segment is seeing rapid growth. People want more storage, better organization, maybe adjustable shelves.
Especially in cities where space is tight.
Exactly. That demand for enhanced storage and, multifunctional design is really pushing the multi-door segment, particularly in urban areas.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Okay, materials. What are these cabinets typically made of?
Well, currently, wood holds the largest market share.
Classic choice.
Yeah, it's durable, looks good, offers lots of design flexibility, but aluminum is projected to be the fastest growing material segment.
More modern.
Exactly. It's durable, it's lightweight, gives that contemporary look. Plus, critically for a bathroom, it resists corrosion.
Good point. Any other materials?
The report mentions an others category, which includes things like plastic, presumably for more budget-oriented models, but aluminum's the one really gaining momentum.
Okay, wood dominates now, aluminum growing fastest. Got it. Last breakdown. Who's buying them? The end users.
Right. The residential segment, basically, us buying for our homes, has the largest market share.
No surprise there.
And interestingly, it's also flagged as the fastest growing end user segment.
Really? Why is that?
It's driven by home renovations, new construction, definitely,
Hmm.
but also that increasing focus on personal health, hygiene. People want organized spaces for their toiletries, medications.
Makes sense. Any other big segments?
Yes, the hospital segment is also expected to grow very rapidly.
Hospitals. That's interesting. What's driving demand there?
Primarily the expansion of healthcare infrastructure globally. More hospitals, more clinics being built, especially in developing regions.
Uh-huh.
And they need specialized storage, cabinets that meet strict hygiene rules, security for controlled substances.
Right. Not just your average bathroom cabinet.
Definitely not. This is where you see things like ASRS, automated storage, and retrieval systems coming in, sort of robotic systems for managing meds, and also RFID-enabled cabinets for tracking and security.
Wow. High-tech medicine cabinets.
Yeah. The report also mentions commercial spaces, other clinics, offices, etc., but residential and hospitals are the key growth areas.
It really shows the breadth of this market. Okay, so we've covered regions, types, materials, users. Let's pull back a bit. What are the big picture forces pushing this whole market forward?
Several key drivers stand out. We've touched on some. That growing awareness of home organization and hygiene is huge.
Yeah.
Then there are the increasing healthcare needs globally, especially with aging populations in many countries needing better home storage. And, of course, technology, the rise of smart features, mirrored cabinets with integrated lighting, digital locks, maybe even inventory tracking. That's pulling the market forward, too.
Smart homes extending into the bathroom cabinet. Makes sense.
Hmm.
Are there any roadblocks, things holding the market back?
Yeah, a couple of restraints are mentioned. One is simply limited bathroom space, especially in cities, that restricts the size or type you can install.
True.
And also the cost. Some of these advanced recess or smart cabinets can be pretty pricey, and the installation costs can deter more budget-conscious consumers.
Okay, space and cost. Fair
Yeah.
enough. And looking ahead, key trends to watch.
Well, definitely the continued rise of smart and connected cabinets as the tech gets cheaper and people want more convenience and security,
Uh-huh.
and also a growing preference for space-saving designs, but also highly customizable ones. People want things that fit their specific needs and space perfectly.
Functionality and personalization. Got it. Finally, what about the companies making these? Is it dominated by a few big names?
It's actually a mix. You've got large global players, but also lots of regional manufacturers.
How do they compete?
The big guys often focus on innovation, brand recognition, their distribution networks. Smaller players might compete on customization, niche designs, or sometimes just price.
And e-commerce must be shaking things up.
Absolutely. It intensifies competition, lets new companies reach customers directly, offers way more choice in terms of style and price.
Any specific names mentioned?
The report lists several key players like Jensen Group, Rangier, Robern, Croidex, Kohler, quite a few others. It notes that, the full competitive deep dive is probably in the paid version.
Understood. Well, this has been really illuminating. So just to recap, this medicine cabinet market is big. It's growing steadily, around 5% globally.
Yep.
Driven by home improvement, health needs, tech integration. We see North America and Europe as the current leaders, but APAC is where the really fast growth is happening.
Spot on.
And the trends are towards space-saving, recessed, often aluminum, and increasingly smart cabinets, both for homes and hospitals.
That sums it up nicely. And it really underscores how these seemingly simple items reflect much bigger shifts, doesn't it?
It really does, like urbanization influencing size, demographics driving healthcare needs at home, technology creeping into every corner, all reflected in a bathroom cabinet.
Exactly.
That makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other everyday objects in our homes hold these kinds of complex global stories? Something to think about. Thanks so much for unpacking all of that for us.
My pleasure. Always interesting to dive into the details.